Hey everybody, Marshall123X here. Welcome to my weekly podcast for Dragon Ball Super. Today we will be discussing the events of episode 88, and by we I mean just me. Unfortunately, Gecko was feeling a little under the weather this week, so he will not be joining me for either podcast this week. I'm very sorry. Everybody go and tell Gecko you hope he feels better soon. But yes, I'll be flying solo this week. I'm very sorry to tell you guys that. I'll try to make it as quick and painless as possible, but I have no one to work off of, so it's just me. Hooray! Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into the episode. We cut to the episode starts off with Gohan and Piccolo doing, starting their training and whatnot, as advertised in the episode preview, and we find out that Goku has already recruited Piccolo for the Tournament of Power. Not sure when he did that, because he pretty much went straight, when he separated with Gohan to go talk to Piccolo, he pretty much went straight to, Dende, or we went to Majin Buu and Dende, but whatever. So Goku and Piccolo are talking. Goku tells Piccolo how Gohan did in the preliminaries. Of course, showing concern that obviously he did good, but he could be better. He could be stronger. We all know this. So Piccolo requests Goku to get him 2 senzu beans, one for him and one for Gohan, so that they can do a non-stop training session. Basically, that's what this whole training session is going to be. Just Gohan and Piccolo training until it's time to leave. Literally till the very point time, until they're getting ready to leave for the Tournament of Power. So that's pretty cool. That's a really awesome idea and a really awesome concept, because again, Saiyans, really do work well off, crunch training. But my question is, why don't they just go to the hyperbolic time chamber? There may be an explanation why. Maybe they can't use it right now. I don't know, but why? Like, they have at this point, I think, at this point, over 12 and a half hours. That's like 6 months in the hyperbolic time chamber. Gohan would come out a fucking beast. Even Piccolo would benefit from it at that point. But then they'd be in sparring. Piccolo easily takes on Super Saiyan Gohan and thwarts him. So that training continues. We cut to a nice little scene of Trunks and Gohan attempting to change Bola's diaper, while Bulma and Whis and Beerus look on. And of course, Vegeta shows up and changes that diaper like a boss. Like, literally, it's like this really quick, you just hear these whooshing sounds, and he's Vegeta being a pro dad. I mean, he's crazy. He's far more. You can tell he's far more involved with the raising of Bola than he was with Trunks. Which, take that for what you will, but I think it's because he's starting to realize that family's important and whatnot. But so I thought that was a really cool and heartwarming scene. Beerus is standing nearby, and there's a little myth that everyone is so calm, even though they're on the verge of being erased, which is understanding that he'd be concerned, and he contemplates telling everyone, but Whis pretty much plays out the scenario for him, and Beerus decides against telling Bulma to avoid Bulma bitching at him, and I think that is hilarious, because he just imagines this scenario where Bulma just chews him out really bad, and I'm like, yeah, I think we'd all want to avoid that kind of ass chewing. So moving on, we cut to Krillin and 18 training. Not much happens here. They're sparring, and 18 wins, and that's about the end of it. Excuse me. Not much happens there. Returning to Gohan and Piccolo's training, Piccolo tells Gohan that training to become stronger is completely useless unless you can control it. So basically saying that you can be the most powerful person in the universe, but if you have no control over this immense power, it won't be useful to you. He also states that he has a lot of confidence in Gohan and that Gohan can actually has a really good chance of winning. So that was pretty cool. And started moving kind of fast, guys. It's again because like I'm just giving my thoughts, and I have no one to. Usually, I have Gek or somebody else here to bounce them off of, and so yeah, like I said, expect this episode to be a little bit shorter than usual, unless I start rambling. But anyway, so this, again, started moving a little too fast. Again, Gek goes under the weather, and I have no one else to do this with right now or today. So anyway. So then we cut to Cabba, who was flying through space in his little car. And if you don't know who he is, he's the Universe 6 Saiyan that was one on Champa's team. He states to himself that Hit is very strong, but he doesn't think Hit will be strong enough to win the tournament. So Cabba flies to this planet and lands near this guy's house. Near this, arrives at this guy named Rinso, who has a bum leg. So he's wearing like a robe, but he's like like an older middle-aged man. He's not quite like old, but he's like like kind of rough and tumble. Old. He's like he's like Snake. Old. We found out that Rinzo is actually a former captain of the Saiyan elite unit from the Saddle Defense Force. So he's also a Saiyan. He's a Universe 6 Saiyan. So that's pretty cool. And Cabba actually shows Rinso the and he was by the way, Rinso was the one who trained Cabba in combat and whatnot. So the guy he's talking to is actually Cabba's former leader. He shows Cabba the Super Saiyan form. Cabba shows Rinso the Super Saiyan form, and Rinso is of course impressed and makes a statement that as long as Cabba is around, the universe is safe. But Cabba obviously isn't confident about that, so he tells him about universal power and what's going on and everything else, and he asks Rinso to join Universe 16, obviously because he has experience, he's strong and he has experience. But because of Rinso's age and retirement and his bum leg, Rinso actually refuses. Which makes sense because the guy can barely walk on a leg. And we see him, in fact, when the scene started, when he heard Cabba had arrived, he jumped out of his, bed, jumped out of his chair, and his leg actually gave out on him. So Cabba actually had to come in and help him out. So it must be pretty bad. It must be a pretty bad injury if a Saiyan, a warrior, can't actually stand on his leg anymore. So, maybe it's true what Vegeta said, a Saiyan who can't walk is just useless. So, when he killed Nappa, I mean, maybe it's like a horse. Maybe once their legs are broken, you gotta put them down. I don't know. It's terrible. But, so he refuses, but he understands that the severity of the situation. So he tells Cabba to recruit his little sister, Cauliflower, which I guess is another female Saiyan, because apparently she's potentially more powerful than he is. Now, I don't know why they use the word potentially, or maybe he just hasn't talked to her in a while, he doesn't know how strong she is, but he did state that she potentially can have more power than he does, so that's pretty cool. So we cut back to Gohan and Piccolo training, and we get a little callback to the olden days, way back in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, when Piccolo originally trained Gohan, and Gohan had a problem with the five-horned Rex. This is big Rex. You can see it from the original opening of Dragon Ball Z here in America. I don't know if it's the same in Japan, but in the original American opening, it's this five-horn Rex who's watching Gohan and Piccolo train. During the training, Piccolo states that he's done warming up, and he decides to ditch all his weighted clothing, as you do. And Gohan powers up to Super Saiyan 2. Piccolo, at this point, easily defeats Gohan with his stretchy arm attack, and puts him in a chokehold, and of course knocks him out. Piccolo wins. This shows how strong Piccolo has gotten. I mean, because, Gohan's a little inexperienced at this point. Gohan's not as strong as he could be, but he still is a Super Saiyan 2, and that alone shows how strong Piccolo has gotten. So he defeats Gohan, And Piccolo points out that Gohan's greatest weakness is his arrogance. And that he overestimates his own power, and in turn, he lets his guard down. This makes sense. I mean, like, ultimately, this really, really makes sense. I mean, if you think back, you know, even he even makes a statement that that's the reason why way back in Dragon Ball Z, Majin Buu gained the upper hand and absorbed him when they had their fight. But you could even go as far back as to when he was fighting Cell, and he toyed around with Cell too much, thinking, you know, and you know, hitting him and instead of destroying him outright when he had this power the first time, he played around too much, and it gave Cell the ability to become a living bomb. You know what I'm saying? So that actually makes sense. Gohan, and I think that's probably why I think that's a really good analogy of Gohan's weakness, that he is a little too arrogant, you know, and it shines through, and I think that's a really cool analogy. So, Piccolo basically tells Gohan they have this exchange of words, and he tells him to, you know, Gohan powers up to Super Saiyan 2, and Piccolo even states that's not the limit of your power. You know you go stronger, you know, release the real you, you know. And Gohan powers up, and bam, baby, we got Mystic Gohan back. And I was like, yes, I fucking fist pumped the air, man, when I saw that. So he's got Mystic form back, and he easily defeats Piccolo, or so it seems. But Piccolo, he chops Piccolo's arm clean off. But Piccolo still has some control over his arm and uses it to shoot Gohan in the back, gaining the upper hand again, which still shows that Gohan still needs to work on keeping his guard up. Piccolo makes a statement, and, you know, the scene ends. We cut to a part where Gohan and Piccolo are around a fire, cooking a piece of meat, and behind them, unconscious, is the 5-horned Rex with his tail cut off again. And if you guys have been around long enough, you know that that's one thing. When Gohan started becoming stronger and started realizing, you know, he could overpower this creature, he started using the sword that Piccolo gave him to chop off the Rex's tail and make steaks out of the Rex's tail. So it's really, really funny, and I love the fact they called back to that. They have Piccolo and Gohan have a small exchange of words, and Gohan basically says, "Thank you for training me. I have my Mystic form back." You know, he didn't say this in so many words, but Piccolo actually stops Gohan and says, "We still have time before the tournament starts." So, and Piccolo seems to think, he said, "I'm confident that you can go beyond your strongest, go beyond your Mystic form. So why don't we just stay and keep training?" And that's what I've been saying the whole goddamn time. I really want to see what they do with Mystic form. I do. And I think that's what Piccolo's talking about, is pushing this Mystic form that we know nothing about. You know, we know more about Super Saiyan Blue than we do about Mystic form. Let's be completely honest. So I think that you know, it's really cool that Piccolo comes right out and states that, and they're going to continue to train and try to push the Mystic form. So I really, really hope that something results of that. Maybe it's some kind of another Super Saiyan Rage boost or something. But I'm really rooting for Gohan along with Krillin in the universe of power. Then we cut to Yamcha at his apartment, and it's kind of sad because he still thinks he's getting invited to the Tournament of Power. And it's really, really sad. I feel really bad for him, but I also made the thought, I was like, well, at least it's nice to know that Yamcha's not living in a box on the street somewhere. He actually has a nice apartment, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, not much else happened in the episode. I think that's when the episode ended. In the next preview, we see Goku attempting to recruit Tien. Turns out, from what I can see in the preview, Tien has a dojo with a few students and everything else like that. So that's what Tien's been doing up in the mountains. He's been actually continuing the whole, the whole crane and turtle style and passing that on to new students. I think that's really cool, because that could be like the next generation of Z Warriors. You never know. And then something interesting, a bunch of I don't know if you guys know what a Jiangshi is. or I think it's called a Jiangxi. They're like Chinese, like Chinese zombies, and they have like paper talismans on their foreheads. A bunch of those are running around. Apparently, Master Roshi got turned into one too. So I don't know what's going on with that. That's the next episode preview. Probably gonna be a filler. Hopefully, we'll be able to get something out of that. Anyway, we do actually have a winner for this week's comment spotlight. This is going out to James Porter. He comments that he is loving the podcast. Not a big Dragon Ball fan myself, but I'm finding these videos really interesting. James, I want to thank you very much for commenting, and I really appreciate you doing that for us, buddy. Yeah, just thanks for the kind words. I mean, I actually commented on that and thanked him for that as well. And we had a short conversation, but I still mean it. Thank you, James, so much. And let me go ahead and encourage the rest of you guys to get down there in the comments, please. Get down there, discuss, tell us your ideas, your thoughts, your theories about the show, or about the episode itself, or about the podcast itself. Whatever, we want to hear it, and you'll have a chance of winning this comment spotlight and appearing in the video. So get on down there and do it, guys. Other than that, there's not a whole lot else I can say. Don't forget to tell Gecko or go ahead and give your love to Gecko. Make sure you tell him to go feel better and everything else. Other than that, guys, I'm rambling. Thank you all so much for watching or listening. I'm sorry. Thank you all so much for listening. And hopefully I won't have to do too many of these solo. Thanks for suffering through, guys. I'll see you next time.